Welcome to the Dan Sports Tips MLB Preview Show for today, the 6th of July. Finally, we've had a good night. About 30 points profit yesterday. I think we're around 70 points up on the year now. Maybe we're going to start climbing back up into the area where I'm most comfortable with. You know, I try and win at least 100 points every year. We were close to 200 up at one stage. It's been a horrid run. We've been grinding and not experiencing much success. Let's take off now. There are a couple of games that aren't priced up that I'm interested in today, so you are going to have to keep an eye on the Twitter account later on. I'm certainly interested in Philadelphia against Atlanta, which, as I'm recording this, I've been waiting for the prices, starts in less than 4 hours. So I will dive in with Texas against Boston. This is another game that I don't think the prices reflect the actual game. If we start by pointing out that Boston have only won 6 of their last 15 games, and Texas have got the best record in baseball coming into today, 1 game ahead of the mighty Cubs. Stephen Wright's been vastly better on the road with a 4-4 record with a 1.88 ERA. I acknowledge that his record of 5-1 with a 3.02 ERA at home in 8 starts is far from bad, but it isn't as dominant, and he did take a loss when he faced the Texas Rangers in Arlington. His second start against the Texas Rangers was that start in Arlington. Both starts where he's faced Texas in his career have ended in defeat, and he has a 5.23 ERA against the Rangers. It's a small sample size, but it is enough. I would worry about him floating his knuckleball up against this lineup at Fenway in what are forecast to be really good hitting conditions today as well. Martin Perez will start for the Rangers. He started the day after Wright in the recent series between these teams. He limited the Red Sox to a single run that day. He is 6-0 with a 3.28 ERA in his last 8 starts. That's the good. I will acknowledge his road record is not as strong. He's 1-3 with a 4.38 ERA this year. And despite a 4.91 ERA against the Red Sox, he does have a 2-1 career record against Boston. That being said, the prices do not make this game look close, and Texas are a play at the odds. Toronto continue the rematch of the American League Championship Series with the Kansas City Royals. Let's start with Marcus Stroman, who pitches for Toronto. This man was the de facto ace of this staff after David Price left in free agency for Boston after the playoff run, which was ended by these Royals last year, was over, and Stroman has absolutely failed to fill that role for the Jays. He is 6-4 this year, but his ERA is 5.08. That being said, he's made some adjustments to his delivery. He's apparently been working with the pitching coach, and had pitched a nice game, almost 7 innings with 1 run allowed in what turned out to be the final win of Cleveland's recent win streak. Ultimately ended in a Jays defeat after 19 innings, but that was a good performance from Stroman, and Cleveland were red hot with the bat at that time. The Toronto bats have started to heat up. They clubbed 5 home runs in yesterday's victory against Chris Young and these Royals. Young leads MLB in home runs allowed. That's taken him to 26. He had 21 coming into yesterday. Ian Kennedy is not far behind him. Ian Kennedy starts for Kansas today. He ranked high amongst pitchers in fly ball percentage last year. That's not going to play well against the Blue Jays. He's allowed 20 home runs this year coming into the game. This play does involve an element of trust in Stroman, who did beat Kansas City the only time we saw him in the regular season last year, and he did also win in the American League Championship Series against them. But if he does struggle, you're going to have to hope that Toronto do club the home runs and score a lot of runs again. Certainly it's worthy a bit of money, and it's not out of the question that Toronto could get us out of trouble even if Stroman does struggle. So we'll take Toronto on the run line. The Miami Marlins and the New York Mets. Justin Nicolino, the lefty, goes for Miami today. Nicolino struggled all year long. He has allowed 4 or 5 runs in each of his last 3 starts. He's 0-3 with a 6.38 going back 7 starts. The Mets offense bust out of its slump in the recent sweep against the Cubs. They are usually better against righties, but could easily continue the woes of Justin Nicolino today in reasonably good forecast hitting conditions in New York. Miami have got plenty of hitters who can impact a game, including Giancarlo Stanton, who is starting to heat up, hit 2 home runs yesterday. The over-under for this game set at 7.5. Now, even with Jacob deGrom pitching for the Mets, that looks a shade low to me, so I'm happy to play the over in the large ballpark in New York today at Citi Field. As I say, we'll take over 7.5 runs in Miami against the Mets. Stay tuned to Twitter, because I'm looking for prices on the Philly-Atlanta game, and I'm also having a look at the Cubs game as well. Best of luck if you're having a play on those today. Let's win some more dollar. Play ball.